Welcome back to Soul Call. Well, you know, we had Russell Peters on the program with us before, and we had so much fun talking to him that we decided to stick around after that show and tape some more with Russell. That's why I'm in the same shirt. Again, and that's why he still hasn't shaved. Again, comic Russell Peters
By
joins
this
us.
time I should have a beard.
How are you, sir?
I'm still good.
Thanks for being in studio with us once again.
No problem.
Talking about your career, the fact that you are of East Indian descent, not of Caribbean descent. People out there wondering, why is he on this show?
Is it usually always black people on the show?
Always.
You know, I'm
It's
used
very
to that.
ghettoized.
I'm very used to that. Used to being the only Indian guy on a black program.
Well, yeah, there's that television show that was on Vision TV called Lord Have Mercy, which you were on that show as well, too?
I was a regular character on there.
Now, how'd you get that gig?
The writer was a big fan of mine, and he knew my connection to the West Indian community. And he wrote me in as the as Pastor Gooding's best friend, Ryan Varma. So,
Now, did they make you a Trinidadian in that show?
no,
or-
I was an Indian guy.
Just?
I was an Indian guy who grew up, he was basically me.
Okay.
He was an Indian guy who grew up around West Indian people. That's why every now and then on the show I'll say stuff, you know, to Leonie Forbes, who played Sister Hope Macaulay on the show. She's a Jamaican actress, and that's why I would always say stuff to her in a Jamaican accent. Like when I'd see her, "Wap, Miss Hope," and I'd say stuff like, "Wap, everything nice? Yeah, man, big up, baby." And, you know, but she would always laugh when we would do it, when we were taping. Because it caught her off guard all the time. Because it wasn't really in the script. It would be like, "Hello, Miss Hope." And then I would walk in and go, "What, Miss Hope? What, Hope?" Yeah, all right. And we'd have to cut. Hope is laughing, you know. So.
Now, do you find it easy to do the accents? Because I know when we spoke to you on our last program, which was actually just minutes ago, but for you at home, it was last week. When we spoke to you on the last program, you differentiated between the difference between Trinidad and, you know, some people don't know the difference between the accents. Obviously, you do.
Yeah, I know the difference. I can hear it right away. Trinidadians, Guyanese, Jamaicans, Bajans. Vincentians I have a little bit of difficulty with, and anybody from the Grenadines I get a little confused with, you know. But that's, you know, those are very minute things there.
Now, when you also, if I'm not mistaken, hosted was it Miss Nude UK?
Yes, yes. That was an awesome gig.
How do you get that gig? How?
I don't know. That's
How?
What happened was I had a talk show.
Why am I here?
That's
How did
right.
you get that gig?
This could get you the gig. This is how
Thank
I got the gig. I had a talk show in England on BBC. It was a late night talk show. And the girl who was putting together Miss Nude UK was one of my guests. And she brought a contestant on with her. And I was interviewing her. And then when we went to commercial, I was like, you know, if you need any judges or anything for this, I'll be more than happy to be a judge. And she was like, "Oh, sorry, we got everything sorted out." And then the show ran, and her mom saw the show. Because it was a family affair putting this thing together. And her mom went, "He's great, let's get him to host." And I was like, yes. And so they paid me to be on stage with 20 naked women. And then I was the only guy backstage, so I'll let you do the math on that.
Okay.
Phenomenal time we had.
And that's why this show is now rated as PG.
That's right.
You have had an opportunity to work, as you mentioned, in South Africa, the UK, certainly across Canada. What about the United States?
I do the United States every now and then. I actually just got the lead in a movie. I just got the lead in a movie, which will be shooting in New York for 2 months, starting in September. And it's called The Arranged Marriage. And this is really cool because it's the lead. So I'll be the guy in the poster, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's me and a very, very famous Indian actress named Rani Mukherjee. Probably doesn't ring a bell to you. Didn't ring a bell to me either because I'm not so in tune with the Bollywood films. But anytime I say it to an Indian person, like, "Oh, Rani Mukherjee," and I'm like, "Yeah," and me, "Yeah, but Rani Mukherjee." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, never mind her now because I'm in the." So I got the lead in that. It's going to be a good movie. I'm doing it because I play a guy who doesn't have an accent. I play an American guy who just grew up in the States, and you know, I'm Indian, but you know, I'm me. I'm Indian. I just, you know, I don't let where my heritage is from control my entire life. You know, I still got to function in this society that we live in right now. And I can be just as Indian as everybody else, but I don't have to, you know, live my life a certain way.
Now, do you have to sing and dance in this movie?
I will not be singing and dancing.
Will there be singing and dancing in the movie?
I hope to God no. But it's very possible that there will be because there's always a gratuitous singing and dancing scene in any movie that has to do with Indian people. Whether it's The Guru or Bollywood Hollywood or or whatever these other crummy movies are that come out.
I know sometimes we see the community channels that show the movies, and to me it's always like
they're the 6-hour-long music videos. Is what
it's another retelling of Romeo and Juliet with music, because it's usually one guy.
You know what?
meets a
But you
girl.
know what the thing is? The dancing's always really corny and goofy. You know. You know where they do where they cross each other like this? That's horrible. But you know that's there's 1.5 billion people that love this stuff, so it can't be wrong, I guess. You know what I mean?
What would you like to do? You've been doing this to say 14 years now. Where would you like to see your career go? Have you achieved a lot of the things you want to achieve, and are there things that you really want to do that you say, gee, I wonder if I get a chance to do that? And do you feel in any way, shape, or form limited by the fact that you are Indian?
Oh, I'm very limited by that, but that just because you're limited doesn't mean you can't do something. You know what I mean? Just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score. Do you know what I mean? Right. So you just got to work. I just got to work a little harder. I got to put in a little bit extra effort than a lot of people wouldn't have to do. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I got to put myself in a position where it's undeniable. Do you know what I mean? Where nobody can go, he doesn't deserve that. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm already in a certain level where people go, why haven't you? And there's a lot of powers that be that say we can't do it. So it's got to be, I got to work harder now to get me to another level to make them go, we have to do something with this guy.
Black comics, black actors always talk about the problems they have in dealing with the mainstream media and the business. Do you think it's even more difficult for you?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Because if you look at Hollywood, Hollywood is black and white, and now black, white, and Asian. And for some reason,
and a little bit of Hispanic too.
And a little bit of Hispanic,
yeah.
Which is really messed up because there's a huge Hispanic population in the States. I understand that it doesn't translate well for the rest of the world, but you know, if you're going to deal with your country, then deal with your country. Put some Hispanics on TV and film, and stop making them gangbangers and drug dealers and essays and vatos, Holmes. You know, but I mean, just make them regular people. I've met so many Hispanics in the States that are just regular people. And it's the same thing with my community. My community is the most underrepresented community in media. If you really think about it, it's...
And the second largest population in the world, isn't it?
And in the next 3 years, we'll be the largest population in the world. So what happens then? Do you know what I mean? And they got to address the fact that Indian people now in North America are moving into the second and third generation. Do you know what I mean? So it's like this whole talking like this doesn't exist almost anymore. It won't exist in a couple of years. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So they're going to have to get ready for people like myself and other people who just sound like regular North American people.
One thing I want to ask you, we have just a few minutes to go, and I wanted to ask you something you did in your routine that I saw at Just for Laughs, and that is when you went to Africa and you met the 21 dealer.
Oh yes, my blackjack dealer.
Yeah.
The South African, the Zulu names, because in Durban is a Zulu is called a KZN, KwaZulu Natal, and the Zulu names are awesome. And the thing is with Zulu names, they have these African names, and then white people try to spell the names in English for them, and a lot of the names have sounds in them. And you can't spell a sound, but white folks tried to spell it. And my dealer's name tag was spelled XOBILE. And I'm asking her, how the hell do you say that? And the guy's name was pronounced Bile. His name was Bile. He had a in the beginning of his name, and then apparently, according to the white people in South Africa, it's spelled X. So if you ever have to spell, it's X.
It's always fun to have you on the program. It's always fun to see you on stage, and it's not only is it funny.
Your hand? I didn't want to leave you hanging.
It's not only funny. It's an education as well.
It is mild education.
I thank you very much, Russell, for being on the studio with us and on Soul Call.
That's right.
A viewer.
That's right. I am a viewer.
More Soul Call coming your way after this break.